Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode here at Catholic Table Talk Podcast. This is the podcast where everything Catholic is on the table. Thank you again for joining me at the table for another great episode this week. Thank you for your continuing support for the show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the show with your friends and family. If you have any feedback, show topics, or show speaker requests, please feel free to drop them in the comments below or email Catholic Table Talk at the official email is catholictt@gmail.com. Again, it's catholictt@gmail.com. Also, you can order merchandise. We got lots of merchandise to order, as well as sponsorship info. You can just email us. Speaking of sponsorship, we have a new sponsor this week. It's Sabra's Doe Lake Brittany's, and they're raising AKC registered Brittany's that are great hunting and companion dogs. Champion Peter Gunn bloodlines, as well as Nolan's Last Bullet, and Maverick lines. Check them out at Facebook and Instagram at Sabra's Doe Lake Brittany's. So thanks for Sabra's Doe Lake Brittany's for sponsoring today's show. Now let's get on to today's show. And today's show, we're talking about a really still a hot topic in today's society, and it probably will be for at least for the foreseeable future, is pro-life work and what pro-life does against abortion. And we have a special guest with us today. She's from Staples, Minnesota. Her name is Chloe Kramer, and she's a peer minister at NDSU, or North Dakota State University, at the Bison Catholic. It's what they call it up there. So let's welcome to the table, Chloe Kramer. So Chloe, thank you for your time for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's a great treat. About a month ago, I did a series on just abortion. That was a great series. And I reached out and you said, let's just talk about pro-life work. I'm like, that sounds like a great topic. So first question for you today, Chloe, is what is pro-life work exactly, and does it vary?
Yeah, pro-life work is the idea that we want to have as many children to have chosen life for them as possible. So pro-life basically means to be anti-abortion. And so as a result, we're trying to work with pregnancy resource centers. We're trying to make abortion both illegal and unthinkable. We're trying to inform women so that they feel the type of informed that they need to be to choose life for their baby, and changing policy to reflect that. So we're trying to change hearts and minds about abortion.
Right, awesome. Now you say you talk to women to try not to be abortion. What do you say to someone who says pro-lifers, when they're talking to other women about not having abortion, they are like kind of forcing that woman to not have abortion? They're pushy. What do you say to someone who asks you that question?
Yeah, a lot of people about the pro-life movement will say that we are, I guess, forced birth, but I would argue that abortion is also forced birth, but we would, in that case, actually, we're essentially delivering a dead baby. Whereas in this case, we say, well, where there's life, there's hope. So choosing life means that you have an opportunity to be successful and to be able to follow your dreams just because you're alive. Because if you're alive, you have hope and a future.
Right.
Also known as Jeremiah, trying to think of which one that was. 29:11.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was just curious because I mean, a lot of people do say that. Now let's transition into kind of what you do, into your group. Can you dive into your particular group, or Bison Catholic, up there at NDSU?
Yeah, Bison Catholic is our Catholic Newman Center up at NDSU. We are actually one of the top in the country.
Really?
We actually are. We are in the top 5. We have over 200 students that are registered. I think we are the top CSO organization on campus. And our goal is to build up leaders through faith-based programming. So we have Bible studies and discipleship, and we do Bison Catholic night, and we do a lot of social media. We have a podcast too. It's called Iron Sharpens Iron. And we, as a Newman Center, are trying to save souls on campus. So we try to reach students who might be hurting or who might not have an opportunity to showcase their faith in that way on a college campus, especially secular one like NDSU.
Right. No, I mean, that's terrific in top five for that. And a couple weeks ago, I had my brother Sam on talking about just college activities to do at college, or excuse me, Christian activities to do at college. And he brought up the Newman one, and he highly recommend getting involved in it. If your campus has one, that is, I should say. So you say you go out to like different, activities at college. Um, like what kind of activities and how can people sign up for Newman?
Yeah, the type of activities we do, like we do different types of ministry. We have men's and women's ministry. So we recently did a women's night. We have a different section for pro-life ministry. We do events and we do lots of social media. We do music ministry. We put on masses every day. We have our pastor, Father Cheney, and our Monsignor. So they lead the ministry team. And there's a team of about 20 of us that work to kind of reach people on campus. It's totally outreach based.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that sounds like a good deal there. Um, Now you said, you go out, do all that stuff, get people involved, and then, like I mentioned, you're a pure minister at Bison Catholic. Um, so is this like, do you get voted in to be a peer minister? Minister? Do you have to be there for so long to become a peer minister? What is the work like? What you do, and how is it different from? I'm not trying to say the average person at Newman, but like from compared to everyone else who just joins Newman.
Yeah, peer ministers are on the ministry team along with our pastors, and we work just below the director of campus ministry. Or I shouldn't say just below, but he's our director. And we
Okay.
have Focus Catholic also on campus. So have you heard of them?
Yep.
Yeah, we have a great Focus Catholic presence, so we work along with them and our priests to bring more ministry opportunities to the NDSU campus. So for me as a peer minister, I sort of applied. I went in and I just expressed interest. There's no formal application process, but I had been there for a year, which most people are in the Newman Center for a year before they kind of are in that position.
Right.
So I was expressing interest, and they take a look at things that you're good at, your talents, your gifts. And for me, I was really, really interested in pro life work, but I also was interested in running events. And so I got hired as the events minister and the pro life minister on campus. So my whole job is really, really cool for the Newman Center is to create media. I run our social media, make videos, post graphics, graphic design, all that cool stuff, send out emails to everyone that's involved. But I also have the opportunity to run different types of events every week and try to expand our pro-life ministry on campus, especially after Roe versus Wade was reversed.
Like that's a lot of stuff to do. It's kind of like, like running a business. You're doing the social media, getting people involved, you're doing all that. So it's very, very busy. Um, so obviously you love what you're doing, and that's great. People, how I guess next question would be like, how many people on average do you get per year, and has that number really grown? And what is kind of number that has grown since this past summer Roe versus Wade got overturned?
Yeah, so actually, right now at the Newman Center, every event that we have is topping the charts for how many people are coming. But that's because we have our capital campaign and we are building a brand new Newman Center. It's been in the works for the past over 5 years. And so we have this multi-million-dollar project to build a brand new Newman Center, and people are really, really excited about that. But along with that, we have our media studio, And by using social media and by being one of the largest presences on campus, we are sort of getting the word out in a very like cool way to students, and people are showing up because we're showing that we have something to offer for them.
That's very cool. I mean, brand new Newman Club, a Newman, so that's a lot of money, and a lot of people like newer stuff, so that's good.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we absolutely have a lot of donors and a lot of people who are really excited about this project. So it is really cool to work for them and be on the front lines of that.
like I'm sure they do, yeah. So Bison Catholic is just, I mean, one group, but like you said, Newman on campus is just one group of pro-lifers throughout the country and throughout the world for it. And, to be honest, um, kind of want to transition kind of more back to na- uh, the nationality of pro-life movement. How can actually let's start with this question: how many pro-life groups are there, and how can people decide on which ones to join, and that type of stuff?
Yeah, one of the main organizations that I also work for is Students for Life of America. And at Students for Life, there are over 1,300 pro-life clubs on college campuses and on high school campuses. So I'd say that one of the things that you could do is get in touch with one of those organizations. Like for Students for Life, you can email your state at studentsforlife.org. They get you in touch with your regional coordinator, and he can let you know what groups are actually already available in your area. And there's a very high chance that there's a pro-life group somewhere around you. If it's not a Students for Life group, if you're not in a college town, there are pregnancy resource centers. They drastically outnumber Planned Parenthoods and other such abortion facilities. Like even in the Fargo area where I go to school, we have 3 pregnancy resource centers and only 1 abortion facility in the 5-mile radius. So
Nice.
pregnancy birth centers drastically outnumber abortion facilities. So if you are interested, you can do that email that I was talking about to find your pro-life group that is in your area. They also have Pro-Life Future, and you can go to prolifefuture.org, and Students for Life connects you with pro-life groups that maybe you're out of college, but you still want to be involved in the movement.
Right.
Other pregnancy resource centers and volunteering is one of the main ways that's how I got involved.
Awesome. I mean, like like you said, get involved with your state Students for Life, or if you, I highly recommend too, if your parish is not really doing anything for the pro-life movement, then trying to get a group together and start like a group at your own, even at your own parish too. Um, so a couple episodes ago, I kind of talked about. I said I kind of like back to the pro-life overall, and the work that you do and others others are doing. I did an episode a couple weeks ago about, Roe versus Wade overturn. What's next? For the overall pro-life movement, because people say Roe versus Wade got overturned. It did, but it's only went to the states. A lot of states still have abortions. Um, so what is the next step for the overall pro-life movement to try to get rid of abortion?
Yeah, the pro-life movement is shifting sort of in a drastic way, but at the same time, it is the same battle. Like you said, it is just returned to the States. So the pro-life movement is now kind of seen as more of a post-Roe movement or like a new pro-life movement where instead of fighting a national battle that is centered around the Supreme Court, we are fighting a state battle in all 50 individual states. And that looks different for every single state. I personally fight for life in both Minnesota and North Dakota because that's where I'm from. It's where I go to school, and I'm from Minnesota. Um, in Minnesota, abortion is dramatically underregulated, and it's almost like everything is regulated in Minnesota except for abortion. And so our biggest battle in Minnesota is trying to change laws through our elected officials to stop Minnesota from being an abortion sanctuary because that's what they're trying to do. In Minnesota, they're trying to make it so that states that surround Minnesota, where abortion is outlawed, like North Dakota, South Dakota, that they can come across the border and go obtain abortions in Minnesota. So that's a very unique battle, right? Like
Right.
there's a lot of people who are trying to fight for Minnesota to be this place where women can come from all over to come get an abortion. But that battle looks drastically different than the one that we're having in North Dakota, where they're actually moving our one abortion facility. There's only one in the entire state across the border to Minnesota. It's only about a mile off the border in Fargo. So they're like, let's just move it a mile down the road and it'll be legal. And not only that, in places like North Dakota, chemical abortion is being pushed. And we're seeing a rise in chemical abortion by mail or by vending machine, or simply by you can essentially obtain it anywhere. And that's what's being pushed at the moment in states like North Dakota. So we have so many individual battles. That's why we're all called to serve in our individual state. So like, who knows your state better than you when you live there? I know a lot about North Dakota and Minnesota. I don't know much about North Carolina or California. So the pro-life movement is shifting to this where every single person is called to be a leader in their individual state and community because there's people everywhere that need us to love them. There's people everywhere that need to know the truth. And you need to plant seeds in every community across the nation.
Right. Great. Yeah. So just get when you were talking, that kind of brought me back to just kind of the Planned Parenthood's abortion clinics, and most women who see the scan who are considering abortion, if they see that, then they will have an abortion. But abortion clinics don't want them to see it, so they're, they're almost the ones who are making the woman have forcefully have abortion. And we just recently, the Supreme Court overruled or whatever on the Biden administration, saying that the Biden administration, who, as we talked about on the show before, the Biden is Catholic. Um, they can't force a woman to get abortion. If if women out there, they want to know more about the pro-life story, or more info on the pro-life, and they're wondering if they thought about abortion, now they're thinking more about not having abortion, and they want to reach out to someone like you, or to someone like you said in North Carolina, or whichever state they're in. How do they go about doing that?
Yeah. So you mean like as in like pregnancy resource centers or
Correct. Yep. Sorry
trying to
about that.
find resources? Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. One of my favorite websites is standingwithyou.org. Standingwithyou.org is a national initiative. So all you have to do is put your zip code in and it'll show what pregnancy resource center is near you, and it'll show sort of all the services that they offer. And these are nonviolent resources. These are resources that like won't promote abortion essentially. So they'll counsel you to help choose your baby, they'll help you financially, they will help you in every aspect of your pregnancy. And all you have to do is type in that website and look up your state or zip code. And it's really easy and really cool that someone from the pro-life movement was able to create this website that is accessible to everyone because we live on the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely do. Doing the podcast, I'm on the internet more than I was in high school taking online courses. I'm more on the internet today. Um, I
Yeah.
got about one final question, Chloe. Before we get to that, is there anything else that we have not talked about the pro-life movement that you want to discuss?
Well, I definitely think that the pro-life movement has so many different, like you were saying, angles.
Sure.
Like like supportive services, for example, is your pregnancy resources and reaching out to women on campuses and all over because women are everywhere that are seeking abortions. But the largest demographic is the 18 to 24, the college age, the
Right.
age that you and I are. And that's kind of a scary statistic because when you're on a college campus, you're surrounded by possible abortion-minded women. But so we have supportive services, we have pregnancy resource centers, we also have public policy. We have this idea of educating people about what abortion is. That's another angle of the pro-life movement. Um, we have things like rallies and trying to use our public presence to show that the pro-life movement is alive and well. Um, I think that what a lot of people don't know about the pro-life movement is that there are so many ways to get involved. You don't have to be a public speaker. You can use your unique talent, no matter what it is, to be active in the pro-life movement. I always say if you're into science, be the most pro-life science person you can be. And I know that's kind of silly, but that's how I got involved in the pro-life movement, was taking these little areas in my life and saying, wow, I'm good at this thing. I could use that area of my life and my time to talk about abortion. So like I said, if you're into, maybe you're really into sports, maybe you're really into science, you could do a fundraiser for the pro-life movement using your gifts. And so I just think we're all called to use the things that we're passionate about to fight for life, because as Catholics, we have an obligation to fight for those who can't fight for themselves. And I fully believe that God gave us our unique gifts for a reason, and each of those gifts are meant to be used for his gospel, which is the gospel of life. And we know that every single person is worth fighting for, from all the way from conception when their life begins, all the way until Jesus calls them back home. So that's my encouragement, is there's ways for every single person to get involved.
That's right. It doesn't matter how old you are, or if how much time you give in, you still got ways to give to the pro-life movement.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, the pro-life movement is very much made up of lots of people using their individual passions to fight for something greater. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
yeah, definitely is. And I want to end the show today, Chloe, with this. You said, when you're talking there, you said pro-life movement is alive and well. Let's just say, I mean, I'm guessing you're gonna be a part of pro-life movement for a very long time to come. Where do you see the pro-life movement, and I guess abortion too, but mostly just pro-life movement in, let's say, 10, 20, 30 years from now?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really interesting question, because we saw role reversed, but we always say in the pro-life movement that that's not the end of the pro-life movement. That's just the beginning. And we have honestly so much more work to do, but that can't deter us from fighting even harder. So let's say in 10 years, we're still going to have this sort of spiritual battle, a battle of perspective going on, where there will still be people who, even as we see laws reflect a pro-life culture, or we see more of a culture of life in the future, we're still going to see these people who say that, these same euphemisms that we've been seeing since 1973, my body, my choice, all these things where they say that this is a right to autonomy, reproductive rights. Like, you've heard all of the arguments, and we all have. Those arguments are still going to exist, and we still have this obligation to change hearts and minds, because it's not just about law and it's not just about culture. It's actually a heart issue, and it's a moral issue, and it's bringing more people to Christ and changing their hearts on the issue as well as their minds. We're not going to get anywhere if we're not able to sort of do both. And so, yeah, fighting for law. I don't know what law will look like in 10 years. I don't think anyone does, but I can guarantee that we'll still be fighting this battle, a battle of heart, like I was saying, sort of.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way of putting a battle of heart. Um, very, very great stuff, Chloe. Um, if someone wants to get a hold of you for speaking purposes, or they want to know more about your group, the Bison Catholic, up at NDSU, how do they find that information?
Yeah, so they can contact me anytime by my email. I use Chloe Kramer 08 at gmail.com. I'm always big into just chatting with people. I think one of the biggest things about the pro-life movement is having heart-to-heart conversations, being a heart-to-heart advocate. And so I have an Instagram, it's life.chloekramer. And that's where I do mainly all of my, that's where my work lives. That's where I do videos and podcasts and where I post my speeches. So if someone wants to get a hold of me to speak, I would love to talk with you. It's one of my favorite things is to just have real conversations with people about an issue that seems to be kind of placed on a shelf. Like people don't want to talk about abortion. And I'm over here like, actually, no, I think we should talk about it. I think that if we have real conversations and not hateful conversations, I don't think that helps the movement, but real empathetic conversations where you understand that this is another human being that you're talking to, an eternal soul. Um, that's my goal. I want to have as many conversations as possible. So if anyone's listening, please reach out to me, message me on Instagram, email me. If it's possible, maybe you can put the email in your description of the podcast. Is that possible?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll make sure to send that to you. I would love to chat with anyone. I don't just work for Bison Catholic, I also volunteer with Students for Life of America. So I encourage people to reach out to them. And I also am my Students for Life Club president. So if they're anywhere in the Minnesota or North Dakota area, I can help them get connected with the movement in Minnesota, North Dakota, or even nationally. I would love to chat with them or speak at your youth group or at your club.
Oh, awesome. That sounds very good, Chloe. Once again, thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, William. I love your podcast. Keep it up.
Well, thank you very much, and keep up the great work up at Bison Catholic at NDSU.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, that was Chloe Kramer. If you want to get a hold of her, like I said, we'll drop down the email description in the comments or description below, so you can get a hold of her that way. And have that heart-to-heart talk with your loved ones, or if with a pro-life group, if you're thinking about abortion, or if you just want to know how to get more involved in the pro-life group, try to have a heart-to-heart talk with a pro-life person who is in a group, and or like I said, try to get your church involved if they're not already. So, another great episode here, everyone. Thank you again for watching, subscribing, and all that you do. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place, God willing, on Catholic Table Talk Podcast, the podcast where everything Catholic is on the table.